It's a great honor to be able to introduce today's panel, which represents our second in a row, but actually our third overall leadership panel from a Coke Florida perspective. Today is exciting. It's going to be an awesome day. We're going to hear from a number of leaders across our organization. They're going to share some stories, some insights, and things that have made them great, inspire us, talk about their journeys, and impart a lot of wisdom and knowledge. We're live from the Atrium headquarters in our studio. We've got a live studio audience today, so hopefully they're friendly and they'll cheer in the right way, and we'll get some positive reinforcement. They'll let us know if we're off track, and so we're testing that out for the first time ever. We've got Lori Adams, who's our Director of Learning, who's graciously agreed to facilitate this panel. I know she'll do a terrific job as she engages the team and also shares some of her stories and her journey along the way. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Lori and welcome the team and the group to today's show.
Thanks, Noah. Next to her, we've got Shannon Smith, and she is our Sales Director out of our Tampa location, and we got the 8-year crew. She's been with us for about 8.5 years.
That is correct, 8.5 years. I'm about a year younger than the company, and I'm excited to be here today as well to sit on this panel with a wonderful group of young ladies and appreciate the opportunity to celebrate Women's History Month with the group today.
Fabulous, thanks. Next to her, we've got Biani Collado. She is one of our talent and learning facilitators in our headquarters office as well, and she's been with us for 3.5.
3.5 years. Thank you all. Thank you for the invitation. Honored. Definitely honored to be here with such amazing women.
We'll keep going down the line. Kelly Gazowski, got it, there we go, is our large store customer management director, and she's been with us now for 5 years. So tell us about yourself.
That's correct. Pleasure to be here with everyone today. Honored to be a part of this panel with some amazing women, and looking forward to spending some time with each of you over the next hour or so.
Ashley Howard is our claims management manager, and she's also out of our headquarters office. She's been with us for 2.5 years.
Yes, 2.5 great years. I mean, I'm an infant, I guess, to everyone else in the Coke system, but I mean, it's been a great 2.5 years. I'm super excited to be here and humbled to take and engage in this conversation.
Fabulous. Thanks, Ashley. And Geraldine Rodriguez, she is our commercial marketing specialist, also out of headquarters, and she's been with us now for 5.5 years.
Yes, thank you, Lori. 5.5 years. Started in Fort Myers, moved to Tampa to the headquarters, so super excited to be here.
Great. Christina Miranda, coming back toward us here. She's our Director of Information Governance, our master data team, and others. And she's been with us 7 years at Coke Florida, but you've got a 17-year history with the system.
That's correct. 17 years over 20, so I did take a 3-year gap. But as they say, I bleed red, and I could not stay away from Coca-Cola for long, and I'm happy to be here on this stage alongside these wonderful women. Thank you.
And last but not least, we have our TGM of our Winter Haven facility, Laprecia Fontenot.
Hey, thank you. I'm excited. 22 years in the Coke system, and I have to say the past 7 years have been the best being a part of Coke Florida. So excited to be here with these beautiful women, and eager to learn from them as well. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, so the first question is really for all of you, so we'll just go right down the line. Just tell us a little bit about your Coke Florida journey. Briefly,
yeah. So didn't get accepted to pharmacy school, stumbled upon Coke and applied for a telcel operator. I'm dating myself, really. Didn't get that job, but got invited to become a BDR, which is similar to the BDM role that we have currently. Within 3 years, I grew between an account manager, merch supervisor, then became a sideload DSM in Texarkana, Texas. The unique thing there is a small facility, so not only did I managed drivers and account managers, I managed special events. So transitioned to the HR team to perform some training with a program called Connecting with Customers, which is the foundation for our negotiating for value training that we have now. And then I became a Walmart key account manager. 2008, I elected to take a package and leave when they were doing all of the reorganization of the company. Came back in 2013 as a distribution supervisor, distribution manager, then an area sales manager, and then a leader who shall remain nameless said, hey, you need to come to Florida. And so I jumped on the bandwagon, thank God, getting out of Memphis, and I've been here ever since. So it's been an amazing journey.
Thank you. And I will say, in case you didn't have time to write all that down, shameless plug, her career journey is out on the career site. Christina.
Thank you. So I started my Coke career back in 2005 with the Coke Company. I spent 10 years with the Coke Company in various roles within technology and data. My last role was with the Kona organization prior to Kona becoming its own company. And that's when I met my fearless leader, Terrence. So connected with him, understood Coke Florida was about to become a company. It was really exciting. The buzz around the network about Coke Florida was amazing. But Coke Florida wasn't ready for me yet. So I did leave the Coke system and spent 3 years back up north, very cold in New Jersey. Spent 3 years managing data for Americas for Philips Lighting. But like I said, I bleed red. I really missed Coke and stayed connected with Terrence over the years. And then we reconnected, and he had a role for me to come join Coke Florida. They wanted to get their data in-house, start to build out the team. And in 2018, I came and joined Coke Florida, and it has been an amazing journey, and it's definitely not over yet. So.
All right. Well, I've been with Coke Florida for 5.5 years. Started in Fort Myers at the distribution center as an ASA, working for one of the best leaders, Rodney Ford. Then I finished my master's in marketing, moved to the headquarters here in Tampa. Been in the marketing team for 3 years now, 2 different roles, content creation and now commercial operations and FSOP. So,
Yeah, I love that because you actually had quite an interesting start
Yes, I did.
as an ASA and then now at the headquarters office.
Yep.
Fabulous.
So I am in the risk management department under Aaron Black. Interesting career. I actually started to or wanted to go to dental school. So I went to the best university in the state of Florida. Go Gators. Just kidding. Just kidding. Anyway, so I got there, the chemistry classes kicked my butt. I said, you know what, dentistry may not be my thing, but I'll stick with the health field. So I graduated and kind of stuck with dentistry and eventually got into dental claims for workers' compensation. So I oversaw dental claims over the U.S. for workers' compensation. My mom is actually in claims. She's been in claims over 46 years. And me as a child, she told me, when you pick your career, never go into claims. Claims are stressful. What did I do as a child? I went into claims. So I had the opportunity to transition over to a TPA on the insurance side, and I managed claims for national accounts, catastrophic claims, high dollar claims, settlement claims. And I did that over the course of years, and also was given the opportunity to come to Coke Florida and do it on the other side. I'm actually now the employer side. So now I oversee our TPA that manages all of our workers' compensation claims, and it's been an amazing journey. I mean, I didn't know anything about work comp when I first started, but I would not have traded it for the world. It's extremely, extremely humbling to, help injured workers get back to their pre-injury status, especially our associates, because they're great. So it's been a great 2.5 years, and I look forward to the ongoing journey.
Thanks, Ashley.
So I agree, Ashley, that you went to the best university in the state of Florida. Go Gators, selfish plug. So I'm relatively new in my career at Coke Florida, just over 5 years, but over 30 years in the industry. So blessed to have worked for our #1 customer in public supermarkets for 16 years, and then been in the CPG world for just at 20 years. All 5 years that I've been here at Coke Florida, I've been in the same role as customer management large store director, but I've been blessed to have my portfolio change over those years. So club, mass, supermarkets, I've had large store independent and value, and really had the opportunity to build my capabilities and to develop a team that delivers to our customers every single day, and that's in partnership with everyone in this room.
So prior to this role, my career was in higher education. So I worked for Florida International University, FIU in Miami for about 7.5 years. I was an academic advisor, project lead there, and I taught 2 courses. Then I was recruited and accepted a job at Miami-Dade College, the Homestead campus. It was closer to home. My role involved working closely with non-traditional students, a population that I absolutely loved working with. I felt I was making a difference, but I got accepted into a doctoral program at University of South Florida. So after 10 months, I said, I guess I'm moving. And I picked up, dragged everyone, including my parents, brother, the entire family to Tampa. Started working at University of South Florida, Morsani College of Medicine. It was great. I did some facilitation, worked with standardized patients, completely different than everything I've ever done, but it was wonderful. And then I decided, let's try something different. Still in learning, that's not to get too crazy, but something completely different. And so after or during COVID, I learned of this opportunity and applied. I absolutely love it. I love connecting with the leaders across the organization, the Leadership Academy, and just getting to that one-on-one. That's so magical for me. So it's been 3.5 years. I've absolutely loved it, and I'm so thankful to be here.
Thank you.
Very similar to what Ashley shared earlier. I originally thought I was going to school to become a tax attorney. So I majored in accounting and received a BS in accounting, and I went back and got my MBA. However, as soon as I graduated from my undergraduate degree, I actually joined Philip Morris USA for 10 years. So I sold tobacco products, and 8 years with Conagra Foods. So prior to joining Coke Florida, I had about 16 years of sales leadership, and customer development experience that I brought to the table. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm about a year younger than the company. And what's been so great about my journey and my experience is that I joined during our transactional journey. And I was here for our transformational journey post all of our transactions. So I had a chance to see us acquire the North and the South regions and all of the transformations we've made since that time. I lead the headquarters city team, and that's a wonderful thing for me. It makes you very proud and, empowered knowing that our headquarters city is run by me, but also executed and executed on a day-to-day basis by the team that I try to motivate and inspire every day to meet and or exceed everything that we expect from a business perspective. And I have to say, the other thing that's so exciting and empowering for me is that, as I look at the past 8.5 years, I know we work for a company who is big about investing in our people, investing in our business. And we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. We are truly committed to the communities where we live, work, and play. And it's so exciting to see all of the wonderful things we do for our associates, for our business, and what we do for our community.
Yeah, and I constantly see you out there in the community, Shannon, just at the different events and supporting that and walking the walk.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So my journey started many, many years ago, my professional journey, that is. I moved to the US in 1988, started a career in retail, didn't know that that was going to be my path. At first was soft lines, and then I moved into a big box retailer where I worked for about 17 years. Accomplished a lot of things there and learned the other side of our business, right? The customer side, which I think is essential for what I do today. And then in 2016, I was blessed enough to have an interview with Scott and Chris Troyer. And it was the last interview of the day. And then I got a call not too far from that day from Jonas, offering me a position as district sales manager in Orlando for a small store. I didn't know anything about small store, had never had that experience, but took a little while. So when there's some guidance and some people that really helped me out along the way. And then a couple years after that, we had route to market, where the way we go to business changed completely, right? So it was time to learn some new things. I've got exposed to different territories in Orlando. I was moved 3 different times to 3 different areas. And I can gladly say that for the past 3 years, I've had the same area. I have been able to see some sustainability and some of the things that we work towards every single day come to, to life. So it's a great company to work for. I remember the day that I got my job, I called my parents in Brazil. I'm going to get emotional. I'm sorry. But my mom was like, "Oh, thank God it's not Pepsi." So that was it.
Love that. All right. So thank you for that, ladies. And so when you think about that journey, obviously there's a support system of some type. And I'm sure many of you have had great mentors or influences in your life. But we'll start with Shannon. Tell us about somebody that's been your influence in your life and in your career.
Great. Thank you, Lori. From a professional perspective, as well as a personal perspective, there has been a ton of individuals who have been impactful in my life. But today, I would absolutely be remiss to not talk about the role that my mom has played in my life and the impact that she had on my sister and I. I grew up in a single parent home, 2 kids. Mother was an educator, but started off as an assistant teacher and went back to school part-time for several years to receive her degree while, rearing 2 young girls. My sister is 2 years older. And when I reflect back on the moment in which all 3 of us were in college at the same time, I was in undergraduate college, my sister was in graduate school, and my mom was finishing a specialist degree in education and administration. So those are the kind of things that when you think about, like, why are you built the way you're built? Why do you do the things you do? For me, it's based on the cloth that I was cut from.
Yeah.
The strength, the resiliency, the diligence, the passion, the commitment for wanting to win and be successful was embedded in me, for the first 18 to then 22 years of my life through college and beyond. So I must say she has been one of the most impactful ones in my life from a role model or mentor perspective. And she's also gone on, before she retired, she got her PhD. So she kind of left my sister and I at the graduate level, but she continued on. But it's never too late to go back to school is what I keep telling myself. So I just wanted to share a little bit more about, that from my perspective, personally, and just how impactful my mom has been in my life.
She led by example.
Yes, she absolutely did.
Fantastic. We'll jump down. Geraldine, why don't you tell us about your influence?
Like Shannon, my father was the biggest influence in my life. He taught me the importance of hard work, integrity, resilience. Through his actions, he showed me what it means to be responsible, just capable of doing certain things. Whether it was guiding me through like tough times or just leading by example, like you said, I do believe that his actions, his strength, his wisdom, made me into the person that I am today. Obviously, there's professional people that I've looked up to, but definitely my father.
Great, thank you. Biani, let's go down to you.
You're familiar with this story, Lori.
Okay.
And
I won't
so
give
is
it
my
away,
team.
I promise.
Don't give it away. So for me, it would have to be Dr. Ingrid Martinez Rico. She is a former professor at Florida Gulf Coast University. I met her when I was 18 years old. Not in the classroom. She actually organized projects to the Dominican Republic, service learning projects. And I traveled with her. I had the honor to travel with her under her leadership for 5 consecutive years, doing service work in my home country with my people, which was incredibly rewarding. From Ingrid, I learned so much, deep things. She's the first person that got me thinking about my social responsibility as a human, as a privileged human being. She got me thinking about my voice, how to use my voice. She empowered me. She gave me opportunities. She was my mentor. Then she turned to be a friend. Unfortunately, in 2008, on her way to Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers, on her way to work, her light turned green. She started to go, and a loaded dump truck that ran the light took her head on. She was in a coma for about a couple of months, and then she regained consciousness, but she had severe brain damage. So heartbreaking story. However, the things that I learned from her, the things that we all did, all of my colleagues and friends, the impact, her legacy, she got me thinking about all these different things that she did herself during her time, that I truly do believe that she would have been pleased with all the things that she accomplished. So I keep her in mind till this day, whenever my light is green, I wait a couple of seconds, make sure that no one is coming. But beyond that, it's just, she changed my life. And the decisions I make, how I raise my children, everything in between, she's in me.
Yeah, and sometimes it is that person that's not necessarily a family member that gives you that mentorship. I know I was similar. One of the people that I worked for in my early career, he became my mentor, and he taught me a lot about leadership and what good leaders do and what they don't do, and teaching you how to build a team. And I've shared this with many of you. One of the things that he said to me, he goes, when you build a team, think of yourself on a clock, and you're 12 o'clock. And the first person you hire is somebody at 6 o'clock who is your complete opposite. They build upon the areas that you're maybe weaker in and that they're stronger in, and then you build them up as well. And then you hire somebody at 3 and at 9, and then you can fill in the rest of the clock. And it's stuck with me all these years, and I think that's one of the important things, that as leaders, we sometimes try to hire people that are like us. That have the same skill set, and it's oftentimes the exact opposite of what we really need to create a fantastic team. So I'm going to go to one other person. Christina, tell us a little bit about your influence.
So I'm going to bring it back to family. So like Shannon, I've had a lot of great influences in my life, but one person I want to highlight is my sister. So I'm from a large Italian family. I have 8 brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest of 9. And my sister, who's 3 years older than me, you can imagine growing up in the 80s, her and I, right? Latchkey kids after school. So, but as we grew, she was always such a positive influence in my life. She is extremely successful. She made vice president by 30. She took 10 years off to raise her boys and went back to work and is now a CFO. So she was the one that showed me that you can be that mom and be that family member and be the best mom you can be and rise to the top. So she is my biggest influence and mentor.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I do want to remind the audience, both our live audience as well as everyone out there listening and watching this broadcast, that if you have questions for the panel, please feel free to send those in, because we are keeping an eye on that. And if you've got specific questions for anyone on the panel today, please send those in. So as we do that, let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about advice. Right? What advice would you give? I know we've got a wide range of ages and experience in your professional career, but if you were talking to some of our younger professionals in this organization, what advice would you give? Let's start with Simone.
Be courageous, find your voice. Don't let the wrong influences, social media, TikTok, Instagram, sway you away from your path, from your goals. Keep yourself centered. Find a mentor. Older people really know best. When we're young, we think we know everything, and we don't. And experiences are there for a reason. Just be brave and just live in the moment, and don't forget who you are.
Thank you. Ashley, how about for you?
So an advice that I would give is advocacy. You are your biggest and main advocate, right? A lot of people relate or correlate advocacy to conflict and confrontation. Most people that know me, they know that I'm non-confrontational. But in a sense, when you think non-confrontational, you think, oh, well, she lets people run over her. She doesn't, address issues. It's not the case. I just take a step back, and I like to hear, or figure out and think about the other person's perspective. There's always something to take away from someone else's perspective, so that I can respond to that confrontation in a positive light. And same thing with conflict. People see conflict as a negative. I don't see conflict as a negative, because again, there's always something to learn from conflict. So the thing with conflict is never the issue. The issue with conflict is the inability to navigate around the conflict. So all of those gems that you learn from conflict and confrontation, you use those so that you can be your biggest advocate and you can get what you need to pretty much succeed and be successful in life.
Yeah, I love that. Conflict does not have to be a bad thing.
Exactly.
Christina, how about for you?
Our Leadership Academy.
It does sound very much like
Leaders
that.
with TLC. Good job, Ashley.
Yes, absolutely. Christina.
So, this advice is not only for young professionals, but anyone, anywhere in your profession. And you may have heard this before, but I hold this true to my heart, and it's very true. So, don't wait until you are 100% qualified for a role to go after that role. Because if you're already 100% ready for that role, there might not be much growth for you. So, you have to be in the ballpark, of course, but you want to challenge yourself, push yourself, know that you can do that role, be confident in yourself, and go for it, because that is how we are going to break that glass ceiling and move up.
Yeah, great advice. Appreciate.
What I would say to any young leader or leaders as a whole, definitely lead by example. You never know who's watching. And sometimes being in a leadership role, it can be a lonely experience because you're having to make unpopular decisions. You're having to deal with a lot of tough situations. So what I would encourage any young leader is to embrace your support system that's around you, support each other, encourage and motivate each other. More importantly, I had a mentor years ago that said, just like companies have advisory boards, as a leader, you need to have your own advisory board. And that's people who will tell you the hard truths, even when you don't want to hear that. They'll hold you accountable to the values that they know that you have, and they keep you solid. So if anything, lead by example, get an advisory board, and probably the biggest one is don't get caught up in position and titles. Because at the end of the day, you're pulling up the next person, but you're setting an example for those around you. So it's not about a position. It's not about a title. It's about winning, achieving the goal that's in front of you, whatever the company objective may be. Because at the end of the day, especially for us, when you go out into the stores, a consumer doesn't know your title. They just see you as that Coke representative, and they're going to hold you accountable to the worst experience that they may have had service wise. So just be who you are and have fun doing it.
Yeah, and I'll tie in two things that you two said, is when you think about that next role, not being caught up on a title and not having to have every checkbox checked. Transferable skills are so critical when we think about what our next role might be. If we're just thinking, I want to get to this role, there may be so many other roles out there and positions and job opportunities that if you just think about what are the skills that I have that are needed for something I may never even thought about, that could be that next door for you that you never even considered. So, yeah. All right, Kelly, I haven't heard from you in a while. So let's move on to not just our professional lives, but our personal lives. And I think this is true for not just women, but men out there today, because family dynamics are changing. But for those of us that are mothers or caregivers, how do we balance that? So let's start off with you, Kelly, on that one.
Yeah, so I have one daughter. She's currently, she's about to be 22 this month, and she's a bull, so you'll be happy about that, Biani. So our house is a little bit divided, Gators and Bulls, right? And they play each other this year in football. So I've been in the retail industry and the CPG industry longer than she's been around, if you calculated all the years that I said earlier. So it was a lot easier to navigate with just my husband and I. And then when she was born almost 22 years ago, we had to make decisions. We both work. We both have careers. And I don't think we necessarily had it all right when she was born, right? It was a lot of swapping and figuring out. We lived in Georgia, not down here with family and stuff. So somebody said earlier on the panel, have a support network, absolutely critical. And I think as she grew and we moved back to Florida and had a different support level, we figured out what worked for us. I learned very quickly that I couldn't travel during her birthday. I missed her 8th birthday, and I heard about it for probably 2 years. So I made sure that I knew what was critically important to her and how to set boundaries. We always had a rule growing up, while she was growing up, that at dinner there was no technology, and everything waited until after dinner. So sometimes that meant starting before the 8 o'clock hour to get my work done. Sometimes it meant after putting her to bed, finishing up. We just kind of found what worked and what set our groove as our family. And I think that that happens for most people, right? You have to figure out what works, and sometimes it evolves as the kids grow.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kelly. And we're just going to go right down because I know Biani's got kids herself.
Quite a few. So this is it can be hard. It can be challenging because, of course, my career is important to me. My job is important to me. Doing a good job is important to me. And those of you that know me know that I take my role, my tasks and responsibilities seriously. I want to do a good job. But being a mother is very important to me. And I'm raising 3 children that are my world. Moreover, I feel that by dedicating that time to them, devoting myself to them, giving them that time and that attention, I'm contributing to a greater good. I'm giving the world, if you will, if you want to get deep enough, I'm contributing to science. Who knows? My daughter, my 7-year-old, wants to be a doctor. I'm contributing to society, to the economy in some ways. So it is meaningful work. Dedicating myself to them is also meaningful work. So the juggle, sometimes they have to sacrifice, sometimes my career and so on and so forth. But I think it's important for the person, at least for me, to know that a lot of it is also phases, stages. They need me less now than they did 5 years from now. They'll need me less in 5 years into the future. So it's all phases. And understanding that helps. It helps a lot. But it's all meaningful work. Juggling is essential, and making the best out of it. Because it all matters. And that's okay.
I like to say I've got an 11-year-old who's heavily involved in sports. And we've got 2 different sports. We're going every single night of the week. But it's not necessarily a balance anymore. It's a blend. It's how do I blend the time so that when I come in, at whatever hour I'm starting at, I might be working a little bit at home while I'm getting him ready for school or whatever it might be. And then you're at work. And then you come home and it might be still a few little things you've got to wrap up, but you had to leave a little early so you could get to that evening activity. And then once you're there, now you can finish up what you're doing. So similar to Kelly, making sure that you find that blend. So Shannon, I want to hear one last thing from you.
Oh, sorry.
Mike, which one?
So I do have a 10-year-old daughter, and Kelly, said it best, right? You find what works for you and your family. So I had an opportunity to be a professional for 18 years before my daughter came into existence. So I really tried to think about a lot of the things that were applicable in my work life that I knew would be critically important in the personal life. Things like setting myself up for success by prioritizing, making sure, I was managing my time as best as possible, and also ensuring that you became the best juggler of priorities. So you think about being a mom, being a parent, being a caregiver, whether you're, the mom or the dad, it's so important. And for me, prior to my daughter being born, I already shared my journey with you about my mom being a single parent and how influential she was on our lives. And I knew I was not going to be an absent parent. That's something that wasn't even a question in the back of my mind. And I'm so excited to have worked for companies that didn't make me feel like I had to choose between work and my family. I have been fortunate, and there are so many people fortunate. It exists. It doesn't have to be a choice, right? Unless that choice is what works best for you, your family, or your family status, right? Yeah. But for me, it's been wonderful to be able to figure out just how I can ensure that key milestones, very key events, that I'm not absent, I'm present. I want to make sure that I have the ability to be very influential with my daughter and build the best relationship possible, instilling the values, the core values, as well as morals that, you know, I grew up with, and making sure I can continue to pass that on and see some of that legacy in her. So I think it's just so important to think of, for me, it was important to think about the things I had experiences with that really became applicable to becoming a mom at the same time.
May
Please.
I add? What I'll say, my kids are 28 and 30. So what I'll share with you is
She started when she was 12.
She was a baby.
anyway. The biggest reward is when they call home and they share their stories. You see their accomplishments, you know what their goals were, and to see them thrive in life and know that they watched you as an example, they learned your work ethic, and they've instilled it in their own. That is the best feeling in the world, because you can stand back as a parent and you can say, I did that. If I didn't do anything else right in my career, in life, at least I did well as a mom. So hats off to you. I don't know if I could juggle young kids now with the demands that are here with our current roles, but the reward is great. You know, and when the grandkids come along and they start paying them back, and you know, giving them back what they gave you, that's even better. So,
So I would be remiss though. How many of you, again, that have had kids or are a caregiver now, how many of you have that really strong support system, whether it's your spouse, your partner in life? I know my husband is that rock that is there to help support that. And so, I don't know, just show of hands, how many of you have that rock? Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did have a question come in. And it is, and this is for anyone who would like to answer, by the way, we'll take a couple of answers if we can. What are one of the challenges that you faced in your career as a woman, and how did you overcome it?
Can I take that first? Sorry.
Go for it, Simone.
So I don't know, by chance, I never thought of it that way, but I've worked in two different industries where they were male dominated industries, right? It was the wholesale club industry, being a manager. If you looked at our portfolio of stores and the makeup of the leadership for that particular chain, very few at the time were store managers, were females. Then I jumped to, the Coke side of life. And again, we are, as a whole, for the system, the minority, right? So difficult to kind of find a way to go about business and talk about different things. And as women, I believe we're a little more emotional than men. We tend to take things a little bit more personal than men do. So it's a fine line, because I'm totally confident in my abilities to do the job that's presented to me, whether it was 20 years ago or today or 10 years from now. But I don't play golf. I'm not at the golf course. I'm not shooting basketball with the guys. So those places that sometimes are not a part of, we need to try to go around and be creative to say, I'm here and I matter, just like the next guy or girl or whoever that person may be. So it's important to find your space, speak to it, intelligently. Don't go like crazy or anything like that, but find your voice and make it where it's relevant to the environment that you're in. Because at times, you guys know this, girls. We are, it's still a work in progress, right? We'll get there someday. There is a disparity between men and women in the marketplace from many different reasons, and I'm not going to try to go that way. And it's a long conversation if we go that way. But I think it's important to make sure that we're heard and in the right way.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
yeah. So I was in the Army. Strangely enough, I chose to be a parachute rigger and go to jump school. And at the time, it had only been 4 years that women had been allowed to participate in jump school. So it was hard. It was tough. You knew you weren't wanted. They made it very obvious in the way that you were treated. Um, just challenging. And so I had a female leader. She was a major. I was her driver for a while. And she said, Fontenot, I'm going to tell you a secret. She said, they don't like us. She said, but you can't be intimidated by those around you that don't welcome you. Stand firm in what you believe in. Show that you have every right to be a part of this community. We were in the 82nd Airborne. And she said, and show them that you are just as capable, just as smart, just as talented, and just as strong. And so, I kind of carried that with me throughout my military career. It's overlapped into my professional career. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm not in the military anymore, so I have to step back. But a lot of times I welcome the challenge because it allows me the opportunity to, one, squash any misperceptions that some male leaders may have of females, or just show that, hey, we are just as talented and we have just as much knowledge and we have just as much right to be a part of this organization as they are.
Yeah. And sometimes those challenges that you face, if you're able to get through them, it's the biggest growth you've ever had.
Right.
Definitely.
All right, we're going to switch gears and let's move from professional into a little bit of personal. So I know we all have lives outside of, shocking, lives outside of Coke, Florida, or blended, let's say. But so let's hear from some of you on some of the hobbies or things that you enjoy when you're not at work. Let's go to Geraldine.
Okay, so well, I don't have kids. Sorry. So
That's
I have
okay.
a little bit of extra time. So outside of work, I love staying active. I do CrossFit and I do spinning every day. I love traveling and exploring new places whenever I can. Trying new things, whether it's a new workout, a new food, a new experience, is something that I love doing. So yeah, I feel like I just have a lot more time than a lot of you guys, so that's what I do in my free time.
And I can attest to that. When we were working on the Leadership Summit last year, she's like, yep, just came back from the gym. I'm like,
Fit in that workout.
she did. So very, definitely. Let's go down to Biani.
Like any good Dominican, baseball. I am at the baseball field every weekend. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's nasty, and I'm loving it. My son plays travel baseball, and so we're always out there with, of course, my girls as well. I'm also the DJ for the team, so I have that loudspeaker, and I am just, that's why I asked Kevin, where's the music, Kevin? Do you need me to DJ? I can do that for you. But at a more personal level, runs. I love running. That's how I de-stress. I try to run at least twice a week. It's becoming harder and harder. I used to do it every day, and it's just my time from the treadmill telling you do this, you do that, go clean your room, is your homework done? And in the meantime, just letting it all out.
Yeah. And so I'll piggyback off of yours, Biani. So you're at the baseball field, I'm at the soccer fields, or I'm in the Taekwondo dojo. So my son does both of those, and he got me started onto Taekwondo. So yeah, I'm a blue belt now. So that's exciting. So it's my interesting pastime. And let's go to Christina, though.
So free time, I try to find it as much as I can. But in my free time, I am with my family. I have a wonderful husband of 27 years. I have a 10-year-old, soon to be 11-year-old boy, Evan, who is my world. And I spend as much time with those two boys as I possibly can, enjoying anything. My son is a techie, so he's right after my own heart. So sometimes we're on the computer, coding, video games. But then also spending time in the garden. So in my cookie cutter home, I do have an organic garden and an aquaponics in my backyard. We raise fish, we raise vegetables, and I try to teach my son, how we can live sustainably. I can't sustain it completely in a tiny backyard, but we get some tomatoes, and how to stay healthy and eat healthy. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, thank you. I was checking. I don't think we have any other questions coming in yet, but let me know if I missed it. Oh, we do have one. Okay, thank you. All right, let's see. So, what experience in your career have strengthened your commitment to becoming a leader? What experience has strengthened your commitment to becoming a leader?
So I can start. I don't know if it's an experience, but what has strengthened my commitment to being a leader is my team, because my team make me, right? And some of them are in the room today, and they inspire me each and every day. And because of them, I strive to be the best leader I can be.
Yeah. Yeah, I would as well. I think the team around us is what makes us as leaders. But I think to add to that, though, when you see the work that you and the team are achieving and how it affects the business in a positive way, I think that's really where that experience comes into play to say, that's why we do this. Because being a leader is not easy. It's a choice, and it's a gift. It's an honor. And if we don't take it as such, then we take it for granted. And that's when we lose sight of why we're a leader. So, anyone else?
I was just going to share, and this really goes back to the prior question as well about experiences or challenges as a woman, but also relative to being a leader. So the first time I became a leader, I was 24 years old. And I went to lead a team of individuals. I think it was 5 at the time. They were all male, and they were all very tenured professionals. I remember the day that one gentleman said, "Girl, I got a pair of boots older than you." And I was like, I thought it was funny at first, and then I started to think about it. And I thought about how it impacted me a little bit, because I was like, okay, so I'm a brand new leader, right? I'm a brand new female leader also. So how am I going to be able to connect with this team? How am I going to be able to motivate and inspire them? How am I even going to be able to build their capability, right? How are they even going to respect me? So at 24, mind you. And so it was one of the greatest experience ever, because at the end of the day, you could pick up the phone. I'll give you their numbers, at least 2 or 3 of them. I still have their numbers. And the legacy I was able to leave behind with them. And sometimes they quoted this verbatim, but this is the legacy that I aspire to leave behind when leading a team. They said, Shannon is not afraid to get her hands dirty. She'll get in the trenches with us. She's fair, she's equitable, and she operates with the highest level of integrity, trust, and respect every single day. And when I heard them say that about me, and I wasn't even present, right? Like, this is what individuals told me. They said, hey, this is what they said about you. And then they told me themselves. It was just, it was re-emphasizing everything that I wanted to accomplish with them. But at the same time, from 24 to where I am today, that has truly been embedded in me as the legacy I want to continue to leave behind with any person I ever touch, from a direct or an indirect reporting relationship.
Yeah, great
So
story.
it was a great experience
And
for
just
me.
fabulous advice there. So thank you. So we did have another question come in, and it was someone said that, as mentioned, I think someone said that women are perceived as more emotional than men in the workforce. And so when you think about what was something that you did or that you do to try and make sure that when you are making decisions or you're having conversations, that you are sticking more to the facts and not letting the emotions drive your decisions or your actions?
So I was the one that made that comment, right? So if time allows and if the circumstances allow, because at times we have to act right away, right? We don't have time to think about it, strategize, or anything like that. But if time allows, I like to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Why is this happening, right? What can I do to prevent this from happening in the future? What are we learning from this? Because I believe everything is a learning experience. We're learning today from one another, right? How to do a bunch of different things. So I think it's important to do that so we can be a fair person in the end, to be kind to people in the end. We're dealing with people every single day, and we can't lose sight of that. I think it's extremely important because at the end of the day, we're not saving lives, right? Our job is very important to a lot of people. We bring magic together, we share happiness, right? There's magic in what we do. But when we're dealing with folks, it's their livelihood, it's their careers. I think being a leader is also part of developing someone. One of the most rewarding things I've done in my entire career is to see somebody go from an entry level job to a leadership role. That is extreme. That's like when I thrive, and it's like, okay, I was a part of this journey the same way somebody was a part of my journey. The 19-year-old that walked into a store that didn't speak English, it's sitting here today. So is emotion bad? No, I don't think so, unless you're going to use it erratically ways, right? But I think we need to remember that we're human beings, we're dealing with others, and try to lean on somebody else also, right? That's important. Have your support system. Have that person that you can bounce ideas off of, whether it's your leader, whether it's a peer, whether it's your sister, your pastor, whoever. But discuss ideas as much as possible and take into consideration that you have somebody's path, or not destiny per se, but you can impact their lives in some amazing ways if you do things correctly.
Yeah, it's kind of like emotion with empathy.
Yeah,
Can help you to really understand the other person,
correct.
but then be able to use the facts of the situation or the behaviors or whatever it is to drive the conversation.
Right. And there's no script, right? To
No,
life,
there's
there's
no
no
script.
script. So sometimes you have to kind of wing it.
So I do want to share. We had some comments coming in from the field, and one said, "I just wanted to commend all of the ladies on the way that they are presenting themselves. Very well spoken and calm. Life looks good on you." I would agree. And then we had another one that came in. "Thank you all for sharing such inspiring stories and knowledge. You're all paving the way, for so many others. And I know that from personal experience that you are positively impacting our lives." So thank you, ladies. One other question did come in, and I think we'll probably potentially wrap with this one. We'll see where we are. But what is your favorite Coke Florida memory or experience? Good question, by the way. Who sent that one? Anonymous. Good question, whoever that was.
I can start. So I think most of us that have been here a little while had the opportunity to work together during COVID. And during COVID, we learned a ton of new things about each other, about the business, about the world. So probably my greatest memory is helping in Tampa shortly after the Super Bowl that was in Tampa. And there was a bunch of us just coming together, helping in the warehouse, distribution center, Madison at the time. They're blessed with Bessie, or New Tampa DC now. Being out in the market, working product, writing orders, picking orders, delivering orders, just really working together during challenging times to lift each other up and to meet the needs of our customers.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else? Who wants to go?
I'll jump in.
Jody?
One of my favorite memories was being in Fort Myers, helping with the Keep Lake County Beautiful. Like just having everyone come into the beach and help clean up, not expecting anything, just going in there and trying to keep that area beautiful. So that was really, really nice. We're all wearing our Coke shirts, just digging into like the, sand, jumping in, picking up garbage. For hours, sweating because it's Florida, so it's not fun. But it was just really nice to see everyone volunteering and just doing the job.
Yeah, great, thank you.
For me, it's and this is going to sound kind of corny, but at a driver launch, when the drivers are pulling out and you got one truck after another pulling out, that's inspiring. And then the convoy that we did when we relocated to Winter Haven. And Leroy Yancey did such an awesome job with that video. So on my rough days, I play that video, the music, and just seeing the trucks is thrilling. Seeing the Coke Florida logo, it just motivates you, and it just makes you want to go out there and conquer. So, yeah.
Thank you.
If I can quickly add.
Please.
So I have a lot of Coke Florida memories and great memories, but a very recent one was last week, and it's related to how Coke Florida shows up in the community. So, our technology organization, along with our St. Pete sales team, donated. And I'm looking at Jesse, I don't know how many computers to Girls Inc. 25, thank you, Ashley. 25 computers to Girls Inc. And I had the opportunity to go there and watch these young girls learn how to code their own little video game on the computer, and it was so amazing. And what our company does for people in the community and what we do to give back is definitely part of all of my favorite Coke Florida memories.
Great, thank you.
And I want to piggyback both off of Geraldine and Christine as well, saying just the community engagement, just being a part of an organization that is so big in community, and being on LinkedIn or just being out. I was at a golf tournament with my prior job a couple of weeks ago, and I saw the UGA Coke Florida staple at Innisbrook, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know that we had any involvement with this. But just seeing just the community engagement and being a part of that. The driver launches, keeping keeping whatever area great again, and also giving back to Girls Inc. and participating in that. I mean, it was just amazing to see the smiles on the girls' faces and the excitement. And I was also able to participate in speaking to them and just sharing my journey and just seeing their engagement and their excitement and wanting to learn more. And that's a resource that I probably had access to as a kid but had no clue. Yeah. And just our engagement as a company is just it's beautiful to see, and it's so rewarding to be a part of such an amazing company. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I don't get to do as many volunteer opportunities as I'd like to, but the ones that we've done, whether it's Metropolitan Ministries or Boys and Girls Clubs, when you're getting out there, you're helping with their homework, those are the times where I really feel like, hey, we're doing some good work, not just here within the organization, but in the community that we live, work, and play. So, all right. So I am going to wrap us up, but I do want to thank you all so much for today. It's been a great discussion. I hope that our audience has found some new nuggets that inspire not only you or the women in your lives, but we have such a great community and family here at Coke Florida, and this just shows that our women are so impactful and powerful. And I do want to close with a comment that Troy had sent us. So from Troy Taylor, bravo, ladies. I am humbly, I can barely see this. Hold on, folks. I did not bring my glasses today. I am humbly proud to be on the same call with all of you and on the same company with all of you. All of you represent yourself, your families, your communities, and the Coke Florida and Coca-Cola system very well. Bravo, and thank you. So with that, ladies. I also just want to close by thanking everyone that made this possible. So our 8 wonderful ladies here at Coke Florida, thank you for joining us today. To Kevin, who's in our audience with us, thank you for organizing this. And to our communications team, thank you for, again, all of the wonderful the background that we don't see you, but you make such a difference. So with that, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And again, Women's History Month. Let's go, ladies. Let's make it happen. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.